What's going on, guys? We are back with some more roster shuffle news. This time we're going over the Europe RLCS Season 2 League players, and then we'll talk about the notable teams as well. But I feel like in Europe, it's more about trying to even just make a league play right now because it's so competitive on the Europe side. There's so much depth of talent over there that it's going to be an accomplishment just to make it into league play compared to maybe the NA side where it's more of trying to form a team that can probably make LAN. There are some other teams still battling out for those league play spots. I think there is more depth there as well now, but in Europe, it goes way beyond just like the top 12 teams. It goes pretty deep. So it should be an exciting season nonetheless, but let's get right into it with the Season 2 League Play teams and where these players wound up. So there's only one team returning as a complete roster, and that is your world champions, Flipside Tactics. Greasy, Cookseer, and Markey all returning to the Flipside team, and there's no reason to change it. They are world champions, but last time we had world champions, they didn't even make it into the playoffs for their region, talking about iBuyPower Cosmic. So we'll see if that happens to Flipside as well. It's very doubtful, but you just never know. So we got Flipside staying together. Jazer, who was their sub, who played for a couple of weeks in there, he's moving over to Leaf Esports to try and compete as a starter. Then we go over to Mocket Aces. They have dropped the Mocket Brandon and now called Pocket Aces. And Pashy90 and Violent Panda couldn't fit his full name, which happens a lot in Europe. Their team names are really long. Their player names are really long. It's hard to fit everything in there. But those two are returning to the Pocket Aces. And then Devo, with one of the biggest changes this season. It was like the first roster move for Europe, going over to Northern Gaming to make that team even stronger than what they were. Speaking about Northern Gaming, we have Maestro and Remco returning once again. We see a lot of the top teams at least keeping two of their players, compared to North America side where there was only one team at all in the entire region that kept two of the same players. So we have Maestro and Remco returning on Northern Gaming, and Mystic getting the boot, and he's joining up with Mocket, which is not Mocket Aces. It's a different Mocket, a whole brand new team. It's fun. Very fun, guys, to have Mocket and Pocket. That's not going to get confusing. Anyway, God damn it, Pashy, you couldn't come up with a different name. Anyway, let's move on. So Mystic moved over to Mocket to join up with K-Dop from Precision Z. He's moving over to Mocket as well. Sicky joining the Leftovers. Basically, his same exact situation as this season where he just had to form a team towards the end of the season. No one really picked him up, and it worked out for him last time. Let's see if it works out again. He's like the ultimate LAN boy. He's been to both LANs. I think people count him out a lot, including myself. We don't really talk about him all that much, but he has the results to back it up. So we'll see if he can do it again on the Leftovers. And then we have Skyline going over to Red Eye. And now we go to Red Eye, who lost Chaussette to Pocket Aces, joining Pashy and Violent Panda. That solidifies that team there. And then we got Tequilas and Dedu returning on Red Eye, joining up with Skyline, basically the old Precision Z. So again, confusing, but there is no Precision Z at least, so it's not that confusing. So that's another team all set up to go. So the old teammates returning once again. We'll see how they do. Then we got Supersonic Avengers. They disbanded pretty quickly after the LAN, trying out different things. And Doomsy going over to Tablecloth. They should have been called like Team Interview, or We Are Here Just for Interviews, or something like that, what Snasky came up with. But their Team Tablecloth, still a pretty solid name. Then we got Snasky over on the Leftovers with Sicky. And then Lamp, because no one wants to say ELMP, going over to Velocitas with the Mike Rules squad over there, if you're wondering where he went to. Then we got Oh My Dog, the Kingslayers, Turbo Pulsa, joining one of the Kings as a sub, Northern Gaming. And then Dogu, no team for him. Rip the Flying Dutchman. They're all gone. But there is no team at all for him, unless he had a different name change. I didn't see anything about this, but I'm pretty sure Dogu is just not playing. But that does mean that he can be picked up as a sub by any of these league play teams if they make it that far, if they so choose. And then a lot joining Team Secrecy. And then we got Sebadam on Summit going over to Tablecloth as well to join up with Doomsy. And they'll also be joined by Bluey, who is finally of age to play in the RLCS. He's another solid player. He used to play a lot with Scrub Killer. They had like their baby team. So he'll be coming in for his first season. We got Flarky going over to Flipside as a sub. And then Jesse, as I was saying before, Rip the Flying Dutchman. All three players from that original Flying Dutchman team are not competing in RLCS season number 3 for now. We'll see if he gets picked up as a sub for a league play team as well. Then we got Penta Esports. They were the team that a lot of people thought would make it in, and they just collapsed on qualifier day 2 or week 2. And we got Freaky and Pwned coming back for Penta, and then Grandmaster Sexay moving over to Leaf Esports to join Jazer. So that's pretty much all the notable teams from the last season. Lots of moves. We do have some players not playing. A lot more players are not playing on this compared to North America. We only had over 0. Really not too much. We had another sub roll as well here or there. But we have Turbo and Flarky both going to subs from teams that didn't even make playoffs. There's a couple of players that are trying it out. Like Sebadem, he's still trying it out for a team, as well as a lot from those 2 bottom of the barrel teams from last season. And then Penta are giving it another go around. Except Grandmaster Sexy has left them. So, not as many moves as NA, but still a decent amount. A lot of teammates are staying together, though, which I like to see. I like to see people, like, changing up just a little bit. And in Europe, it's so competitive. Who knows? Maybe they did have to destroy the whole teams to make it work like North America, but only time will tell. Moving on, we got notable teams. There is plenty more notable teams in Europe. Same with NA. I love that people are like, why isn't this team included? I'm like, I just kind of threw together some teams at the bottom here. But let's go through it. Top row, we got Flipside Tactics. Obviously, the favorites to win it again. Marky Duda, Cookseer, and Greasy. Northern Gaming, though, making the biggest roster move of the entire offseason, picking up Devo. And so he's teamed up with Maestro and Remco. One of the best duos in the entire game. We got Pocket Aces, Pashy, and Violent Panda staying together. They pick up Chaussette to fill out that roster. And then we got Mocket, which is that surprise team coming in. K-Dot Fairy Peak, basically destroying 2s all off season. I think people are probably excited that they have to focus more on 3s now, so maybe some other people can win some 2s tournaments. And they pick up Mystic from Northern Game, and they look like a very strong team. Then we got Leaf Esports and Jazer coming in as a starter. We'll see if he can make it into league play. I think a lot of fans want to see him there. Then we got Grandmaster Sexay and Krazik for that team. Penta Esports coming back again, Pwned and Freaky with Killer number 7. Hopefully he actually shows up for this qualifier. Unlike last time, he was on the notorious or infamous Team Complex with Vogan, and he was the reason why they got disqualified. He did not make it to the qualifiers. I can't remember the exact reason, and I'm not sure. So someone will have to fill that in the comments. Then we got Red Eye, basically the old Precision Z, to do Skyline and Tequilas. I think they're a borderline team. We'll see where it goes. I haven't seen them play, obviously. Like, I haven't seen a lot of these European teams play too much. I'm going to do some more homework on that, obviously, before RLCS, but they're one of those teams I think will be right on the bubble for league play. Leaf, though, I forgot to mention, I was a little worried about the team, but they've had some really good results recently. They beat Tablecloth, they beat Pocket, they beat Mocket, and they took Flipside of 5 games. And that's in the past 2 weeks. So, Leaf Esports looking pretty strong. But again, in Europe, it's going to be so hard to tell with these qualifiers. And we got Leftovers, Snasky, Sicky, and Continuum. I think it's a really solid team. Snasky, arguably the best player on Supersonic Avengers. Teamed up with Sicky, who's got a ton of experience on top teams and seems to always make it to the top of the charts or the lands or pretty much any tournament he's in. He usually does pretty well. A little bit of an underrated player. He's not the star necessarily of his teams, but he does his job well. Then we got Velocitas, the Mike Rule squad with Paulie Paul. The only Flying Dutchman left was the sub. He's playing with Lamp as well. I'm not a big fan of this team, but we'll see. I think they're a borderline league play team. I think they won't make it, but we'll have to see the brackets to see how that shakes out. But I'm a big fan of Mike Rule, so I hope they do make it. And Lamp's a cool dude, too. I don't know too much about Paulie Paul. We talked a bit at the first LAN, but haven't seen him play a ton. So I want to see, he's the big question mark for me on that team. So I want to see him play. And then we got Parhelion, Fricious, sorry, sneezed. Ignite and Gontho. They're a team that a lot of people probably haven't heard of these players a lot, but they can make some moves. This could be one of those underdog teams that get some upset wins. So look out for them. We got Tablecloth. I'm a fan favorite, obviously. We have Doomsy, my boyfriend, my husband. All right, maybe not husband yet, but, one day. We got Doomsy, Sebedam, and Bluey. Bluey's finally of age to compete in the RLCS, so I'm really excited to see him play in the main stage, hopefully. And then we got Sebedam, one of the interview kings of Europe, I guess. And Doomsy is also pretty good with his interviews. I hope they make league play just so every other week, we could have a Doomsy versus Sebedam interview contest where who comes up with the better props for that week, and we just interview them every week. That'd be great. That'd be fantastic. Then we got Team Secrecy, a lot coming in. Another one of the Kingslayers from Oh My Dog. And then he's with Metz and Magnus. And again, these players you might not know, but they are very solid players as well. So this is a team to look out for. They could easily make league play. So any of these teams could easily make league play. The problem is there's only 8 spots, and there's still 4 or 5 other teams that could easily cause some upsets. And then Europe is just so deep in the talent pool, who knows? There might be a team of no-names that comes out of the woodwork on, day 1 and knocks one of these teams down into the lower bracket. Because those are best of 3s. You just never know. Should be a really exciting season for the North America squad. We'll see who makes it. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to make it into league play. I think that's an accomplishment in itself for Europe. And then, of course, trying to battle it out for those land spots or even just making playoffs in the top 6 is going to be tough. But should be very exciting. I really want to see the flip side versus Northern Gaming series. Obviously, I think everyone wants to see that if they both make league play. That should be a lot of fun. Lots of star power there. But don't count out these other teams like Mocket with K-Dot, Fairy Peak, and Mystic. They could easily take the number 1 seed. So, same with Leaf with the big wins that they've had recently. You just never know. Pocket Aces, I feel like, haven't been playing amazingly yet, but they still have time to gel. And you can't count out Patchy and Violent Panda. They had they played extremely well during the playoffs. And then at the LAN, obviously, coming in second. So, big names here, guys. We'll see if they can continue their domination over the North America region and, of course, the Oceania region. Yeah, that'll do it for this episode, guys. I hope this helped you figure out where your favorite players went and what teams are going to be competing this season. But, yeah, that'll do it for me. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.